Okay, so there's this top crypto analyst out there making a seriously bold call. He thinks the crypto market is heating up and that Bitcoin's next huge milestone is way closer than you might think. So let's dive in and break down his thesis for how Bitcoin gets there.
Yep, that's the number. $100,000, the six-figure mark that's been the talk of the town for years now. And according to the source for this explainer, he's saying this isn't some pie-in-the-sky dream. Nope, it's right around the corner.
And there you have it, straight from the source. He's not beating around the bush. He sees a rebound that takes Bitcoin right back to that massive psychological level, and he thinks it's going to happen soon. So you got to ask, right? What's he seeing that makes him so sure?
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with where the price is right now, then get into the big bullish signals he's spotting. We'll also have to talk about the confusing regulatory stuff, a pretty surprising catalyst for Ethereum, and then we'll finish with two key charts that he thinks prove a bottom is in.
Okay, first things first, let's set the stage here. To really get why he's talking about a jump to 100 grand, we need to see where the price is at right now. So when he was looking at this, Bitcoin was hovering just under $97,000. And look, that's not just some random number. It's a critical support level. Being this close to six figures makes everything so much more intense. It's like the final hurdle before a potential price explosion.
So, what's going to give it that final push over the edge? Let's get into the bullish signals. This is the real meat of his argument for why we're going to 100K. First off, the amount of institutional cash pouring in, it's just staggering. The analyst points to a single day where crypto ETFs raked in $840 million in net inflows. That is a massive, massive sign that the big money is jumping back into the market with both feet.
And get this, it's not just a Bitcoin story. Sure, Bitcoin led the way, but Ethereum ETFs pulled in a super strong $175 million. And Solana, a crazy $23 million day, which, he points out, might be its biggest ever. This shows some serious conviction from institutions across the board. And our analyst, he doesn't pull any punches. He's calling this what it is, FOMO, fear of missing out. The idea is that Wall Street isn't so different from the rest of us. They get scared and sell, but once things turn around, they come rushing back in with incredible force.
And its momentum? It's not just Wall Street. It's a global thing. You've got Russia possibly drafting a bill to let all its citizens buy crypto. You've got Ivy League schools like Harvard and Dartmouth buying up Bitcoin. And even on a smaller scale, you have places like Rhode Island thinking about making small Bitcoin purchases tax-free. It's happening everywhere.
Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The biggest roadblock, according to our source, is coming straight out of Washington, D.C. Let's take a look at the regulatory scene, which is, well, confusing to say the least.
So a new crypto bill has shown up in the Senate. But surprise, surprise, it's not the one the industry actually wanted. Big players like Coinbase are already speaking out against it, saying it's actually a step backward.
And this is where things get, well, kind of weird. Even the analyst is scratching his head on this one. When a company like Coinbase says it's pulling support for a bill, what does that even mean? I mean, they don't vote in the Senate, so what's really going on here? He basically speculates that it all boils down to one thing: money and political power. He thinks support is just a code word for campaign donations, so pulling support is a not-so-subtle way of telling senators, hey, if you vote for this thing, that crypto money might just dry up.
All right, let's switch gears for a second. While all this is happening with Bitcoin, our analyst spots something fascinating over in the world of Ethereum that could send ripples through the whole market. Okay, this next part is a real head-scratcher, in a good way. Bitmine, a huge player in the Ethereum space, just dropped $200 million into the platform of MrBeast, one of the biggest YouTubers on the entire planet. That is a huge amount of money, connecting a crypto giant to a mainstream media icon. So this begs the million-dollar or a $200 million question: why? Why make that investment? The theory is it's a brilliant strategic move. They're hoping MrBeast will start talking about Ethereum, or maybe even launch a project on the network. Can you imagine the kind of exposure that would bring? We're talking about a massive new audience flooding into the ecosystem. And to wrap it all up, the analyst brings out the big guns. Two charts that he believes are the smoking gun, proving the market has bottomed out and is ready for its next big move up. The first chart tracks what he calls the OG whales. The folks who've been holding massive amounts of Bitcoin for a long, long time. And the data is pretty clear. after a while of selling, they've pretty much stopped. Now that's a huge deal, because when these guys sell, it floods the market and pushes the price down. But with them holding on tight, that downward pressure is just gone.
And the takeaway from that chart is huge. With way less supply hitting the market from these major players, the path of least resistance has totally changed. As the analyst puts it, the momentum has officially flipped positive. That's exactly the kind of environment you want for a rally.
Okay, for the second piece of evidence, we're looking at a chart that pits Bitcoin against gold using something called the RSI, which is basically a momentum meter. And what's just incredible is that Bitcoin's momentum compared to gold has completely cratered. It's hit a level we've only seen a handful of times in history.
And that is the key, because look what happened every single time this indicator hit rock bottom. In 2015, in 2018, and again in 2022. Each time, it signaled the end of a bear market and kicked off a massive bull run. The pattern suggests we are standing at that exact same turning point right now.
So, based on that history, he makes this incredibly powerful prediction. If history repeats itself, the comeback from here isn't just going to be good, he expects it to be absolutely tremendous. So, there it is, the whole case for Bitcoin's big rebound to 100K. It's built on a wave of institutional FOMO, growing global adoption, and some really compelling charts pointing to a historic bottom. But with all that regulatory fog in Washington, is the path really that clear? Or are there still some major twists and turns ahead?